I'd like to welcome everyone to today's College Football Playoff National Championship Head Coaches Conference Call. Joining us today in our first session is Coach Cignetti from the Indiana University. I will be turning the mic over to Coach here for an opening comment, and then we will take questions from the group. Please raise your hand if you have a question, and when you're called upon, we will open your mic so you can answer that question. Coach, at this point, welcome and turn it over to you.
Excited to start our prep as a team. We staffed yesterday, but we're with our players today. A huge challenge against a great Miami team. Very impressive, really in all three phases. A lot of twitched up athletes playing fast, playing with a nasty edge. Coach Cristobal's done a great job. Offensively, quarterback Carson Beck really playing well. Receiving core impressive, offensive line veteran impressive, running back over 1,100 yards defensively. Really shutting people down, creating turnovers, creating havoc up front. The two ends are a big challenge. Corey's got them flying around, and their teams are good. So, be a great challenge.
Great. We'll start with Scott Dockerman.
Hi. Hi, Curt. This is Scott with The Athletic. I wanted to ask you about retaining Bob Bostad. What went into that decision? How much did you know about Bob before you elected to keep him? And then what were the conversations like as you built the offense because you hadn't worked with him before? How was the conversations built as to how you were going to work offensive line with your passing structure and running structure?
Yeah, I think Bob Bostad was a key addition to the staff. I had known of his name for about 10 or 12 years and his reputation. And when I looked sort of like who was still on who was on the roster in terms of the coaching staff last year, and I saw that he had been the line coach, that excited me. And I offered him, the opportunity to stay right away. And I don't think it took him real long to make a decision. And in terms of the transition with the offensive staff, Mike Shanahan, and at the time, Tino Sinceri, quarterback coach, John Miller, running back coach, Grant Kane, tight end coach, had all been with me at JMU, and I'm involved offensively in the meetings. I think putting it all together was really easy because Bob's a vet, and his philosophy in terms of the run game was aligned with mine and Mike's. And then it was just a matter of, okay, pass pro, what will our calls be? How are we going to do it? What 5-man, 6-man, 7-man protections are we going to carry? And he's just done a tremendous job. He's a great developer. He gets a ton out of his guys. The whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. And we've been, very consistent and very balanced between the run and the pass.
Great. Next, we will go to Brandon Marcello. Brandon, go ahead. Brandon, go ahead and unmute yourself.
There, you got me. Sorry about that. Coach, congrats on the success so far. I was wondering, when you look at developing and coaching players throughout the career, how different is a player, say, in year 2 compared to, say, year 4 or even year 5 when you're coaching them?
Well, I think when you're talking about the high school signees, they change a lot between their freshman year and their senior year. And now, their developmental curve is different. Every guy's a little bit different. Some come in more ready to play than others. Some it takes a while to mature physically. Some it's mental. But there's no question about it that, a 22-year-old is a little wiser, older, bigger, stronger. He's had 4 years in the offense, defense, or special teams, and he's a more productive player.
How much you think has helped your success here in the early goings there in the first 2 years that a lot of the guys or some of the guys are a little bit older that can help bring along like second and third year guys?
No, I think it helps us a ton, but that's what we would look for too. When I came, it was a quick process, a 3-day hiring process, and when I got here, we had 10 offensive starters in the transfer portal, and we had one returner on defense. So we were down to 40 scholarships, by day three. And so, we needed to hit the portal hard. And, we signed 22 guys that had all been 2, 3 year starters with consistent production. I knew we had flipped the roster. And then every year, as your high school recruiting builds up, you kind of start to wean down a little bit from the portal. Uh, so you'll never be at a point where you don't engage with the portal. And this year we'll take a few less than we took last year, and we took a few less last year than we did the year before. But I think getting older, mature guys that played a lot of football, if they got the right stuff, which they're not, I'm not bringing them in if they don't. It, it's an asset.
Great. Next, we'll go to Bill Bender. Bill, go ahead.
Coach, thanks for doing this. Kind of building off Brandon's question. What to you is that perfect balance of guys in the transfer portal and then guys that you have recruited, and how you've been able to develop all of that talent as you get into the next couple of years with your program?
Yeah, I don't look at it that way. I think in college football nowadays, you got to win every year. With social media the way it is, the pressure to be successful, you got to put together a team that's ready to compete for championships every single year. So now, the more success you have, the better you're going to recruit from the high school ranks, and those guys will develop, and most of them will redshirt, but some will play as a freshman. We're always going to bring in 20, give or take one or two high school guys. I think we brought in 23 this year, and some of those guys are ready to help us right away in some capacity. But the portal guys, you're bringing them in because you have a critical need where you have to fill a hole on your football team. So we've been successful doing it. College football's changed a lot, obviously, still changing. You got to adapt, improvise, be light on your feet, if you're going to survive. And that's where I think all that recruiting coordinator experience I had in the past too, as well as coaching, probably benefited me.
Great. Now we'll go to the line of Andrea Adelson. Andrea, go ahead.
Hey, Curt, thanks for doing this. Obviously, we've all seen the success you've had there since your arrival, but I'm wondering, what would you say to folks who think that Indiana may still be a quote Cinderella story, considering the past history of the program?
Well, define Cinderella's story in the context of Indiana. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that.
A team that has risen up despite the past that shows there has not been a lot of winning tradition.
Well, I think that's a fact. If you look at, the record since Indiana started playing football and relative to the success we've had the last 2 years, we've broken a lot of records here in terms of wins, championships, postseason games, top 10 wins on the road, et cetera, top 10 wins, period. And so, it's been kind of surreal, but, you get it done with the right people, properly led, and you got to have a blueprint plan process. You got to have the right people on your staff and the right people in the locker room. And we've been fortunate to have great staff continuity. With Bryant and Mike have been with me 11, 12 years, and a lot of other guys on the staff, 5, 6, 7 years. And then down, in the locker room, we got a lot of older guys that have high character, great leadership traits. They can buy into the team vision. They're very consistent day in, day out in terms of being committed and disciplined and working hard toward improvement, staying focused on the goal, keeping the eye on the bullseye, so to speak, and being able to sort of enter every Saturday prepared with the right mindset, and then putting it on the field. So it's all about people, and then you got to have a blueprint and a plan. And I think there's no question about it. That's what's gotten us to this point.
Thank you.
Now we'll go to the line of Zachary Osterman. Zach, go ahead.
Curt, I'm curious, and I suspect I know at least to some extent the answer to this question, but you've been, kind of in championship game settings. Your dad was in them, you were in them as an assistant, you've been in them, kind of as a head coach. Like, do you change anything approaching a game like this at all? Or do you almost sort of reinforce the extent to which nothing changes in a game like this from your experience?
Yeah, I mean, we've got to prepare for this game no different than we prepared for Ohio State and Alabama. The biggest mistake our guys can make, and that I'll talk to them tonight in the team meeting about this, is making this game bigger than it is, and and going down that road. Then that would be detrimental, to our preparation and our performance. This week is no different than any other week. We have to be on point. We have to stack meetings, practices, and go in totally prepared. But then you got to put it on the field, against a great opponent.
Great. We'll go to the line of Jeff Rabjohns. Jeff, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, thanks for your time. I wanted to get your thoughts on your defense. Three postseason wins, all three over top 10 teams, only 35 points allowed, only 28 outside of garbage time, 25 TFLs, 11 sacks. Just what do you think of the level of impact your defense is proving they can play at in the postseason specifically?
Well, we were excellent against Ohio State, Alabama, against Oregon. We created 3 turnovers and blocked a punt, which was 4, led to 21 points. And, it starts with Bryant Haynes. He's the leader of the defense, and, he goes in with a good plan and puts our guys in position to attack and make plays. But then the credit goes to the guys on the field. Leader of the defense is Aiden Fisher, but every unit has its leaders, and it all starts up front with, stopping a run and affecting the quarterback. And, turnover ratio is huge, getting the takeaways and then limiting the explosive plays and good and critical situations. We're playing a little shorthanded. We've lost some guys that were valuable contributors. But it's been the next man up mentality, like Daniel Ndukwe, who made a couple big plays in that game, blocked a punt also. We haven't skipped a beat, so to speak. Now there were a few more cleanup plays coming out of the Oregon game than the other games, partly because of the conflict Oregon can put you in offensively with tight ends that run like receivers and spread you out and create some throwing lanes. But you got to be great. You got to be really consistent in all 3 phases to be successful. And I think that's what this team has been. We've been pretty consistent on offense, defense, and special teams. And for the most part, we've played at a high level from play 1 to 150, regardless of the competitive circumstances.
Thanks, Coach.
Next, we'll go to Michael Nizoliak. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Curt, I know your offense has evolved and personnel has obviously changed, but does facing Corey Heatherman add kind of any wrinkles to game planning, given his familiarity with your scheme and Mike Shanahan? And I know you mentioned that he is a bit different scheme-wise than Bryant Haynes is. What's unique about his kind of approach versus Bryant?
Well, I think we've evolved offensively since he was my defensive coordinator first 3 years at JMU. We've evolved offensively. Terminology's changed. We do things differently, but his scheme has too. Now, philosophically, in terms of what we think is important, him and I, that hadn't changed. He's going to create havoc up front. Stop the run, TFLs, sacks. They got 47 sacks on the year. And he's going to attack. The way he goes about it is a little different than the way he went about it at JMU, but, the way we go about it offensively is a little different too. So, I got a lot of respect for Corey. He did a tremendous job when I hated to see him go. I hold him in very high regard. He's one of the best football coaches I've ever been around. His day in, day out intensity and his commitment to the game is unparalleled. But I was fortunate to have Bryant Haynes on my staff, who was ready to step into that role. And they're a little different because they're different people. And Bryant likes to do a lot of different things, but we do them well. But the philosophy is still the same in terms of it all starts up front. And statistically, since Bryant's taken over, it's about like it was when Corey was a coordinator. We're always in the top 5 in total defense, 1 or 2 against the run, very high in TFLs and sacks. And but in terms of the schematics, man zone, the kind of blitzes, the fronts, we've changed a little bit, and I've seen Corey change based on what I'm seeing on tape.
Next up is Pete DePremio. Pete, go ahead.
Yeah, hey Curt, I'm wondering with D'Angelo Pons playing wide receiver, was that game specific? Did you think about doing that during the regular season? And have you ever played a guy 2 ways? And if not, would you?
That was specific to a certain situation and down and distance in this game, that against Oregon, this past game. He's a tremendous athlete. He's got great stop-start, speed and quickness. He's a baller. And he went in and executed the play perfectly, and they gave us the look where we would throw the ball and not hand it off. And then he outran him to the perimeter and got the first down. He was a high school quarterback also. And there's a lot of things he could probably do. And we'll see how much we use him over there this week.
All right, we'll go to the line now of Adam Rittenberg. Adam, go ahead.
Hey, Curt, appreciate your time. You mentioned being a little shorthanded defensively. How are you guys doing just from a health standpoint, freshness standpoint, Kamara and others going into this game on Monday?
Yeah, we came out really good, and everybody that played in the last game will play in this game.
And just really quickly, what do you think the legacy of the guys you brought over from James Madison will ultimately be at Indiana? And has there been anything that they've done or continue to do that surprised you at this point?
Well, I think they've been a big part of what's transpired here, especially year one in the transition. We had a lot of guys decide to stay. They had the right stuff. A lot of new guys, the JMU guys, probably represented about half of the transfers we brought in December. And they were probably able to answer some questions for the new guys, the returners too, in terms of how we do things and about me and the other coaches. So in terms of their legacy, I don't think that book's final chapter's been written yet. And when it has been written, then I think we'll all have a clearer idea.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Sammy Jacobs. Sammy, go ahead.
Coach, thanks for doing this. I wanted to ask about Pat Coogan and how easy it makes it in film to hammer home that you finish the play when he's 20 or so yards downfield jumping on a fumble. It's the second time he's done it this year. Just how does that help the philosophy of your team?
Well, he's a winner. Pat Coogan's a winner. And but we got a lot of guys like Pat Coogan. But he's been a great addition. Played a lot of football at Notre Dame. We needed a center. He saw the opportunity. He's been key to the development of the offensive line, one of the leaders on our football team. And, this team has really grown closer as the season's gone on. It's a very tight group. And this team has probably taken the message of how we want to play and put it on the field to a greater extent than any of the other teams we've had. And Pat's a key part of that. He's very highly respected by his teammates. He prepares great. I mean, you're on the plane, traveling, you'll see Pat back there, he's reading his notes, writing things down. Game means a lot to him. And the fact that he was 20 yards down the field and recovered that fumble, it didn't surprise me a bit that it was Pat Coogan. We just got to teach him now, once he recovers it, to roll over it properly.
All right, and our last question today will come from Chris Vanini. Chris, go ahead.
Hi, Curt. Fernando Mendoza, he talks to us in the media like a coach, like he sounds like a coach. I'm curious, what is his communication like within the team and within the program and when you're working with him?
Well, Chandler Whitmer probably and Derek Owens, our strength and conditioning coach, have more day in, day out involvement with Fernando than I do. And I can tell you this, that the best way to lead a team is to perform well, and especially at the quarterback position. I've never tried to like make that guy the leader in spring ball because his performance will speak for itself. And he is highly, highly respected in the locker room. And the way he's played speaks for itself. I mean, I thought he was excellent against Oregon, and he's just, even since the Heisman Trophy, he's upped his level of play. And he's a special guy. I mean, he's extremely intelligent, and people recognize that. And he says the right things, and he'll be really successful one day when football ends, whatever it is he chooses to do. He's got a great relationship with the guys, and it's mainly the older guys, obviously. Those guys hang together, and but I think what he's done behind the scenes to to bring the offensive unit even closer together, and that's a lot. Those are a lot of things that I'm not aware of at the time. Find out later. He's just done a tremendous job in every single area where you could impact team success. He's been front and center.
When you do talk with him, do you come away just impressed at his maturity and the way he kind of carries himself and talks to you?
When I talk to him, the conversations are usually pretty short, and he doesn't say a lot in the building or on the practice field. He's not a vocal guy. Where you, I think, get a full taste of Fernando Mendoza is during the interview process, whether it's during the week or after the game. And, it's always an A+ interview.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. We appreciate your time today.
Thanks, guys.
Look forward to seeing you in Miami.
See you.
Everyone else will be starting the Coach Cristobal call here in just a few minutes.